Alrighty, today's video will be about investment properties and inflation. It's about how much they pay you to borrow the money. We'll go into a couple things on your interest rate versus inflation, a couple different figures, and show you how to roughly calculate it. It's not exact. This isn't financial advice. It can't be. This is a YouTube channel. And I did a minimum amount of research into this calculation, so it's just meant as a rough estimate. There's your warning. Go ahead and smash your monitor if you're taking this as financial advice and throw it out your window. Okay, let's go to our slides. All right, so we have CPI, Consumer Price Index, versus real inflation. The government tells us currently inflation is 1%. I don't know if you believe that. I sure don't. We only discuss things that are real on this channel. And every time I go to the grocery store, it seems to cost me an additional 10% every week. That's just me. I don't know what your bill is. You can kind of decide what you feel on your own here. But there's a couple ways to calculate inflation. We have the government stated CPI figure, currently August 2020 at 1%. And then we have the real figure based on the 1990 math that the government issued on their own. This was actually the government's math in 1990. If it were 1990 today, we'd be at a 4.5% inflation rate. I'll show you how to find this in a moment. And now we have what it would be in 1980. So, the government comes out and changes these and moves them up and down and goes ahead and tries to tell us that there's a 1% inflation rate. Yeah, I don't know about that. You might want to check out Wall Street for Main Street. Jason Burrock over there does a lot on stagflate, tax, and lie. He feels it's the government's policy to inflate away the debt. And his channel is definitely about miners. So if you want to learn about some gold miners over there and some oil, go ahead and check that channel out. It should probably be called Miners for Main Street. Okay, then we have the real rate in 1980 at 8%. So we'll go into some pictures of this and show you kind of how it's calculated then and how it's calculated now. So this is a picture from Shadow Stats. You can go over there anytime and find out what the inflation rate was based on 1990 numbers and also on 1980 numbers, which is going to be this one here, but we're just going to work on 1990 right now. So this line right here is what we call the government's estimate. This orange one's pretty obvious right here. And they say that right now, 2020, we're at right here, come bring this across, we're right at about 1% inflation. That's what they're telling us. If we had used their 1990 numbers that they said were accurate, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years ago, then we'd be somewhere up here. Where's that? Where do you think that is? We're going to go ahead and come over here. That's about 4.5%. Yeah, that seems more realistic to me. Let's go to kind of a worst case scenario here. Let's put it on their 1980 numbers that they said were accurate. Oh, let's look. Okay, yeah, so 1980 see, look right there. We're coming down on the inflation. And we come over here to where, oh my goodness, look at this right here. Government figures, looks like, 1% here still. We come up here to what it is if we had calculated it based on what they said was accurate in 1980. So let's see, take this across. We're at about 8%. There's a 9 right in there. It doesn't really tell us on this chart, but let's just say that's 8%. So you can see if we were in 1980 right now, we'd go ahead and be in a 8% inflation rate. Okay, let's go ahead and compare that to some interest rates. So we're on a rate chart. In this column, it shows what your interest rate is on a 30-year fixed rate investment property. Could be 3.5%, 3.75%, or 4%. It's kind of really low right now because interest rates are through the floor thanks to the Fed's zero interest rate policies. And what you're going to want to do is go ahead and take their CPI, their price index, their inflation figure of 1%. And go ahead and subtract that from your interest rate because you know what? Basically that's inflation that's coming off your interest rate. So if you had a 1% interest rate, the CPI at 1%, you would effectively be at a 0% interest rate. And keep in mind, we're not even taking into account the tax write-offs you get for investment properties. You're taking another, I don't know, maybe half point off there. That's 50 basis points that would come off of that for the tax write-offs, depending on your tax bracket. Could be a little more, could be a little less. Okay, so, right here we got 3.75%. Taking that government's own figures, you'd be at 2.5%, 2.75, or 3% for your actual interest rate. This is what you'd actually be paying. Okay, next slide. So now we're going to switch over to the shadow stats, 1990 based inflation rate. What did we say that was? We said that was right at 4.5% is what it actually is if we were using the government's own numbers from 1990. Remember, those aren't our numbers, those are their numbers. So we have to trust them, right? Okay, great. We're just going to say it's 4.5% based on the 1990 numbers. So these little things here in accounting are typically negative, I believe. At 4.5% minus 3.5%, we're at 1% negative interest. 3.75%, look at that. We're down to 0.75% of interest that we're paying negatively. They're paying us. Look at that. And negative 0.5% if we're paying 4% for our loan. Okay, so what does all that mean? Let's switch over to an amortization table and check it out. Okay, this is a rough amortization table. You can go ahead and just Google that, and it'll come up here and let you put in some numbers, and it'll give you how much your mortgage payment would be all the way over, 30 years. I just put in 100,000 here. So we're going to go up to the top, right here. Right at the top, it kind of tells us our monthly payment would be $299. It doesn't include, insurance and taxes and stuff. Total would be $107,700 for our payments, right? No, because what I did was put in 0.5% for the interest rate. And again, remember, this is a rough calculation. There's other things that go into this that are missing. Like over here, your balance pay down would probably be less if you had a higher interest rate, and you'd be getting more money. So at 0.5% interest based on this principal balance over the years, you see we have like 2021 here, all the months right in here. We got 2020 down here, 2022, and it goes all the way down to like, 2050 probably. August 2050, I think is what that's going to say way down the bottom. We're not going to go all the way down there, but, okay, so our interest, if we are at a negative 0.5%, so let's say our mortgage is the 4% one, worst case scenario today, then we're at a negative 0.5% interest based on that principal balance. They're paying us $42 per month to hold our, to go ahead and let us borrow money. That's pretty good. And you can see as we pay down our principal balance, this amount over here gets less and less and less. We go all the way down, all the way down, all the way down, all the way down. Look, even, let's say, March 2050, they're still paying us $1. Nice. I love making money when I borrow money. So that's kind of how that's calculated. You're probably going to be a little more, a little less than this number. Honestly, it could end up a little more with tax write-offs. But let's say, worst case scenario, you write off a ton of taxes on that investment property, depreciated over 27.5 years. That's probably going to be at least $10,000 that they pay you to borrow that money. So, you borrowed $100,000, and they're going to go ahead and give you 10% of that to borrow the money over 30 years. Sounds like a pretty good deal. Go ahead and point out the math mistakes in the comments there. Maybe link a calculator that does all this for us, because using an amortization table kind of sucks. It's not really accurate. And this over here is not accurate either, and this principle is not super accurate, but it just gives us an idea of how much they're paying us to borrow that money. And you can see the yearly, $207 that first 6 months there, or 4 months, whatever. And $486 they're paying us next year to own that house. And that's tax-free income, people. All right. Alrighty, that'll do it for this quick video. But you can see, if you buy an investment property right now, even at 4%, or you know what, if you go ahead and go with owner-occupied there, and you get 1.99%, they're going to end up paying you like, $20-some thousand to borrow that money over the next 30 years. If you don't want it, I'll stop by your house there and pick it up from you. Just let me know. I'll set up a string of people and just drive cross country picking it up. Okay, so go ahead and subscribe right here somewhere. It should be right about here. Hit this little thumb thing. And then over here, there should be a new video or another video to watch. All right, y'all take her easy out there.